Looking for a new drummer. Well, it was time. We knew we had to face it. We had to find a new drummer. Peter was gone. And the trauma of settling in to find a new drummer turned out to be more of a chore than anyone expected. Hundreds of drummers we went through. We used to set up a rehearsal hall and had a drummer every half hour. We figured the drummer would play for 15 or 20 minutes. We'd have to say hi. We'd have to say goodbye. We'd have to be nice to them. We'd have to shuffle them out and get the next drummer in. So we figured about a half hour to 40 minutes per drummer. And we went through drummer after drummer after drummer, realizing that, of course, we couldn't use anyone that was already known because if everyone already knew them, he couldn't be part of KISS, certainly not if they knew his face. So we kept looking for new drummers, and most of them weren't up to the level that we needed. Plus, the personality was important. Don't forget, this drummer had to put up makeup every single day for the most part, had to hide his face all the time, and had to be part of a group that was already established and come in as a new member. As we went along, we found this one guy, Carr. Eric was a sweetheart, played very well, didn't seem to have an overpowering ego, and the guys thought they could get along with them and liked his drumming. So we finally signed Eric. Eric didn't become a full member of KISS. He was a hired hand, but he was a terrific person. And to give him a little feel of what a rock and roller was like, we bought him a new Porsche and gave him a fairly good-sized salary for joining KISS. The guys didn't really want to make another full partner with the group KISS, and he really remained a hired hand to the very end. We had some trouble getting ready for the first show. It was only weeks away at the Palladium in New York City, and the reason we wanted to have this show, it was only one show in the United States. We were getting ready to do a European tour, but we needed some way to announce the new drummer, the name and the character, to the American press to get ready for the tour in the United States. And we also needed a full dress rehearsal with audience to make sure everything was running smoothly. And that was the night at the Palladium. Before the Palladium show, there were plenty of problems to overcome. We didn't know what character Eric was going to be. Couldn't be the cat, because the cat was Peter Criss. So we had to come up with a new character and a new costume. Well, it seemed like it would be pretty easy, but effectively, after we got involved with it, it was a lot harder than we thought. Was he going to be a chicken? Was he going to be a hawk? Was he going to be a chipmunk? We had no idea what he was going to be like. And as the days got closer and closer and closer, it got worse. Paul and Jean got scared about what was going to happen. Was it going to happen? Where were we going to finish it? Where did we have the costume? Is the makeup going to work? And I remember at the last minute, the day before the show, where we were rehearsing the songs and trying to finish up everything, Jean and Paul and I had our first real argument upstairs in the dressing room at the Palladium. Them stating very clearly to me that I was the manager, I'd better get it together and make sure that he was ready for tomorrow night's show, or that was it. And they just stormed out of the dressing room. Well, Eric and I spent most of the night getting ready for this, finishing up a costume that wasn't quite done yet, deciding what the final touches of the makeup was and what he was going to be, and getting ready for the next day. And literally stayed up all night working on this, and by the next day, it was done. He was the fox, we had the outfit, and he was ready to go, and the makeup was set. The next day turned out to be a little exasperating, only because, of course, it was the first time in the announcement of the new drummer, as well as the only show we were playing for all the press and the key KISS fans in the United States before we went to Europe. The show turned out spectacularly well. Eric did a great job, and we were on our way to Europe. A couple of interesting stories that happened on that European tour. One happened in Milan, Italy. There was a communist demonstration that were going through the streets of Milan when we arrived, and there was plenty of talk about it, both in the papers and on television and around the hotels. And we were going to the soccer stadium where we were playing the first show. And the crowds had started to come in and mill around, and we had already set up the stage and everything else, and all of a sudden, the group was walking back and forth, and they heard a fight had broken out. Well, they were behind the stage, and they could hear the people starting to scuffle, then swear, and then the fight would break out, and the bottles would be thrown and everything else. Well, they thought there was going to be a full-scale riot. They ran back down through the tunnel in the middle of the stadium and back to the dressing room. So I stayed out there to see what was going to happen, knowing that we pretty much had enough crew to take care of it, and then I walked down through the tunnel under the ground and wound up at the dressing room. When I got to the dressing room, the door was barricaded. And I had to tell him many times it was really Bill. I'm the manager, remember me? Knocked on the door until they finally unbarricaded the door and let me in. Well, many discussions unfolded then. One was we're not going to play. Two was we're not leaving the dressing room. How are we going to get out of here alive? And so forth. And my only comeback on that was that I thought we had more firepower than anyone in the audience.